EA Sports within the game. Wow, now that's what you call good football.
Hey there, rookie. Welcome to Madden NFL 23. Before we get you out on the field, let's customize your game to fit you, from your experience level and favorite team, all the way through your play style and accessibility options. And don't worry, if you ever feel like switching it up, you can always change things around in settings later.
Hey, coach. Put me in the game. They put me in, so I'm going in. You play for fun, I'm playing to win. Back on the wall, I'm ready for war. If I beat them before, I could beat them again. They thought I was done, I went on a run and beat all the odds and got even again. Watch what you say, I'm not one of them. When I jump in my bag, I could jump out the gym. Take a look at my legacy, I gotta let them see I'm out here winning, cause I'm on a mission. Put me in the game, cause the way I'm feeling, I honestly do not see no competition. I gotta get it, so it ain't no quitting. We jumped off the benches and jumped in the trenches. No one is better than all of us, and that's why all of us been winning from the beginning. It's more than a game, don't play with my name. You come with your goons, I'm bringing my game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. You hear the crowd, they screaming my name. I got the stadium going insane. Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished, put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah, put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach, put me in the game.
Accessibility settings. Accessibility settings. Accessibility settings.
Menu point window off. Menu narration option is set to off.
Done with the talking, it ain't no discussion. You started, I finished. Put me in the game. Put me in the game. Yeah. Put me in the game. All of that talking just sound like a show. I'm just letting you know that I'm not entertained. Hey, coach, put me in the game.
Dollar.
Accessibility settings.
DJ Mosky, let's get it. We the champions here in Los Angeles. We doing numbers. Bringing home victory straight out the huddle. I'm at the plug, introduced to my brother. My squad superior, ain't none above us. We doing numbers. Gang in the building, we taking it over. Call the promoters. I just put up in this thing with my soldiers. I blew it and I'm still. Last minute I'ma need me some. Call up Khalifa. Bring them in the. You know I stay with some bad little baby. TGOD baby, know that's a gang gang. Crazy girls after the game. We throwing hundreds, we going insane. Pouring this. Dead homies got me pouring this. We get awards, but we give God the glory. I'm shooting my shot, and most times I be scoring. Do this for my city, I bring on the trophy. Feel like Freddie Mercury, we the champions. Here in Los Angeles, we doing numbers. Bringing home victory straight out the huddle. I'm at the plug, introduced to my brother. My squad superior, ain't none above us. We doing.
This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football, certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game? And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They'll throw on first down with Favre. This will be caught by Randy Moss. And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. 16 yards on the game's first play and a quick first down. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. Yikes, a 4-yard loss really sets him back now for 2nd down. Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Looking deep downfield. He's got a man, complete. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal. Well, it's very early here, but maybe circle that one for later. A 3rd and long conversion, Charles, and that sets them up 1st and goal.
And how about the way they got it done? You just mentioned 3rd and long. I'm looking at it from the defense's perspective. They had the advantage. That's what you want to put an offense in, and they let them slip away. Now, if you're the offensive guys, love what you just got done there. Continue on this drive.
They'll run with Sanders, and he will carry this one in. Touchdown, NFC. Taking it in from 2 yards out. And the NFC takes it all the way down the field to score on their opening drive. And they do exactly what they wanted to. Opening drive, they get into the end zone. They do it on the ground.
And not only is the person lugging the ball happy, of course, because he got it into the end zone. How about the offensive linemen and receivers who are blocking for him? They have to feel great about themselves, sticking it in the end zone on a running play.
Morton Anderson now for the extra point. Now they're going to fake it, and he is not going to make it. They stop him up short, and this will remain a 6-0 ball game. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you don't like that call on the opening drive of the game.
It's a very strong limb that you're out on right now. Okay, look, the game between college and the NFL continues to creep closer, but that is truly a college play, not an NFL play. Because you'd snap the ball from the 3-yard line there, whether it's going for 1 or going for 2. So it makes sense to try it that way, to maybe fake it. In this case, from the 15, makes 0 sense.
And now your lead's just 6-0 instead of 7-0. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. That one complete to Hill. And this will not get close to the first down marker as he's brought down at the 26. 1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. Here's Hester. And when it's said and done, it's a 58-yard punt. And the NFC will take over 1st and 10. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
So the illegal forward pass also costs him a down. And now it's 2nd and long. Throwing is far. Toward the right sideline, but it's incomplete. But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course. And the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
The AFC offense set to take their next drive. As we eke closer and closer to intermission, Charles, remember last time out they punted. They would love to get points here, especially if this is going to be their final possession of the first half.
Yeah, and this is what close games feel like because the pressure is on both sides, but sometimes the pressure is a little bit higher on the team with the slight edge because they're trying to hold on to that, trying to increase it. Let's see how this one continues.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. They fake the handoff. Now Brady. And he cannot get rid of it. The NFC getting in there for the sack. Kevin Green coming in for that outside linebacker spot, and he buries him for a loss of 7.
Okay, you know my bias is about to come out here. A lot of people think that the offense is just moving in the wrong direction. I'd say they're moving in the right direction because the defense is pushing them back.
Former defensive guy. Now, as a quarterback 3rd and long, you really got to rally the troops here, don't you?
Yeah, you do in a big way. And what else do you have to look out for? More pressure coming at you because it seems to be working pretty well.
And he'll get this up past the 25 before he's out of bounds. It'll go as a gain of 4. And that's going to bring up a 4th down. 2 minutes remain here, the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. And he didn't quite have the backspin on that one. It hits at the 4 and continues into the end zone. It's a touchback. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. And I would say they went 3 and out last time, but actually they didn't even get to 3 and out. Still a strange decision. He's got a man, complete. And they're going to get this down inside the 20.
Well, partner, that's how you make a long drive suddenly not so long anymore. One big play, and they're already in field goal range with designs on getting more than that.
A real field flipper there as all of a sudden they've got a first down in the red zone. And he's got it. And he can't quite get there. Tackled down at the 1. He's been a one-man wrecking crew these last couple of plays. This time 18 more and a first down.
I think he has to be saying to himself, how did that not wind up a touchdown? Remember, you just need the tip of the ball to cross the plane. It's not going to get there, but they're going to be set up in great shape with first and goal.
Now Favre. And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. George Kittle, a 1-yard touchdown reception as his guys are able to extend their lead.
Partner, to me, that touchdown had something that was kind of rooted in that group seeing the future. What I mean by that is they had a plan. Let's find a way to score right here before the half, and now to give us momentum going into the second half, give us that cushion that we're looking for. They got that accomplished, scoring right before the half ended.
Morton Anderson now for the extra point. Oh, and now they're going to fake it.
Okay, they went for the fake off of the extra point attempt. It's a long way to go, and they didn't get there. Didn't get it completed successfully. Did someone dare them to do that? Did someone double dog dare them to do that?
I was going to ask you, maybe they saw something on film, but do you see something on film with those to try something from the 15 on a PAT? I don't know.
The only thing they needed to see on film there was a snap, a hold, and someone kicking the ball through the post.
The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There are 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Not wanting to risk another sack, they'll play it safe with a run. Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. And this will not be returned, so the second half begins with a touchback. The offense for the AFC set to go now. Charles, it'll be interesting to see what adjustments this offense made in the locker room. Haven't really been able to get anything going offensively, virtually nothing in the ground attack either. So certainly something has to change here in quarter 3.
And I'm pretty sure their friends from the defensive side of the ball told them exactly that, because those guys, the stop troops, they've been playing pretty well, and they've kept them around in this game. Now, they got some time. The running game struggled in the first half. Opposition knows how to focus on defending the pass here. They've got to re-energize that ground game and maybe open things up for a comeback here in this half.
Brady now on first down. Pass incomplete, but the flag in the backfield, and this might be a roughing call. Well, we talk a lot about referees trying to protect quarterbacks, and no question they're going to protect number 12.
And really, truly, around the league, the intent is to protect all quarterbacks. It's just common sense. Those are the guys everyone comes to see play each and every week, and that call is pretty easy.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
So now on comes the field goal unit, and wow, this is no ordinary try here. That's running out of steam, and it won't get there. He left it just short, no good, and that will keep this a 12-point game. Down here in the third quarter, obviously that's one they could have used.
Yeah, and one of my favorite special teams coaches in the NFL told me what separates the kickers in the NFL versus the ones who are not is not the misses. It's the second miss in a row. Best kickers in the league, they don't miss 2 in a row. He's got to get his head back together in case he gets another shot.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for. It's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden, the video game, continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. And that one's not going to get there. Not enough juice, an ambitious effort, but it's well short. And this will stay a 12-point game. Charles, all things considered, I guess that's not a critical miss at this stage, is it?
No, but still everything helps when you're trying to finish off a ball game. And you're right, not critical in terms of the scoreboard and the team, but the guy with the golden foot, he knows he's only as good as his last kick.
And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. So the AFC with the football as we welcome you back. They come up on a 4th down situation with things not looking particularly rosy. Now they go for it on 4th, but this one is going to wind up incomplete. Up the middle they go with Sanders. He fights forward for a modest 2-yard gain, 2nd down. Whistles now and a timeout. So defensively, they burn it here with 1:51 left. This, in all probability, another run here on 2nd and 8. Another run with Sanders. And he's going to have to protect the football and take his lumps here at this stage of the game as they stop him behind the line. And it looks like we've got a dime set here defensively. 6 DBs in the game. They'll run with Sanders up the middle. Oh, and fine work there as he gets this thing down to the 11-yard line. Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half. And they'll be disappointed to have to burn one there after giving up the 1st down. A give running left. It's Sanders. And here he'll get it down to the 7. Call it a gain of 4 on 1st, and that'll make it 2nd down. The recipe's pretty simple, I think, right? Just give your superstar the ball, continue to feed him.
Yeah, don't overthink this one, right? Make sure he's touching the football, but you're also counting on his intelligence in playing the game as well. If it's not there, don't force the run. Just make sure you hang on to the football and keep the clock ticking.
And he's able to get it down to the 2-yard line. It's a 5-yard gain, but they'll still be a yard short here with 3rd down now looming.
Some good strong running right there. Some power and some explosiveness just about got him into the end zone.
And I see an extra defensive back on the field. Little surprise here on 3rd and 1. They'll try and run for it with Sanders. And he will carry this one in. Touchdown NFC. A great play there. His 2nd touchdown of the afternoon as his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further. On 3rd down, it's short and everything well executed. He not only gets the 1st down, Charles, he gets the touchdown as well.
And you see the defense commit to the run so often in these situations, but there's always that little bit of hesitancy, isn't there, partner? Thinking that they may play action yet. They took advantage of that hesitancy and found their way into the end zone with a running play.
Extra point by Anderson, up and good. And that will make this a 19-point game. Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. No run back here for Hall, and this will come out to the 25. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, We've seen a lot of NFL games, and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
And that's going to be incomplete. The contact there enough to jar that ball free, and it brings up 4th down. They'll run for it. This is Allen, and he will not even make it back to the line of scrimmage. They had to go for it with such little time remaining, and the NFC is going to get the football back in excellent field position. So they tried to go for it for pride, but it really wouldn't have mattered. This one, it was already determined.
No doubt about it. This one was over a while ago.
Running right, here's Sanders. And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. 54 yards rushing for him now with a couple of touchdown runs to boot. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go,
Time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could become coach once, feeling a little rusty on them sticks. Head on over to the main menu.